We know that Jodie Whittaker is going to be regenerating at the end of the Centenary special. That's the BBC Centenary, not Doctor Who's Centenary. At the approaching the end of 2022, we know it's already been filmed. It's currently in the edit, and we do know that the director of that story is Jamie Magnus Stone. Now, Jamie Magnus Stone, friend of the live stream, believe it or not, Mr. TARDIS subscriber, and also fan of Cyber Steve and Cyber Jeff, which blew my mind when I was able to interview him. He very kindly gave his time to the 1963 live stream campaign that we did towards the end of last year, where we raised over £2,600 for the film and TV charity, and he was a part of that, and it was wonderful to chat with him. We also had an interview with him, though, because he's been opening up to Hugh Fullerton from the Radio Times, talking about the filming of Series 13. According to this article, Jerry Magnus Stone has directed 8 episodes, which I think makes him the most prolific director of the revived series. I don't know about the whole series. I think Douglas Camfield directed 9 or 10 stories back in the 60s and the early 70s, but Jamie Magnus Stone has been one of the best directors of the revival. Incredible work on the Halloween Apocalypse, War of the Sontarans, incredible work, and it was a privilege to chat with him. Defroster Robot 77 said A. Ross Lynn did a lot. I've not actually done the count myself. I've not done the count, but he's certainly up there. He's got to be. A. Ross Lynn is up there as well. In terms of just one of the best directors of the revival, and also the amount of episodes he's done. It's a lot, okay? Alex Rudico posted checked Lynn's IMDb's done 12 episodes, apparently. Look, I didn't think too much about what I said before I said it, okay? Right. Jerry Magnus Stone did this interview with the Radio Times talking about directing Series 13, the struggles. I won't obviously read out the whole thing, but you gotta, just check it out. It's all awesome and brilliant stuff. But he did give us this little nugget towards the end about the regeneration scene with Jodie Whittaker. So is this question talking about his direction for the Centenary Special, which he's currently editing at the moment. I was actually going to ask about the Centenary Special that's coming up. I know you can't say much, but was it quite an emotional shoot for everyone? And Jamie says, yeah, it was, especially Jodie's last day of filming, because we scheduled it so that our last full day, well, we did do a couple of extra pickups afterwards, but basically her last day of filming was most of the crew's last day of filming as well. So it was orchestrated to have this big final last day. And we shot that last day for Jodie in story order, so we ended up on her last scene. But before that, there were so many tears. Everyone clapped her, and Mandip actually. Everybody clapped for them in the TARDIS for the last time. Then there were some tears, and we shot the last ever scene of the TARDIS and said goodbye to the TARDIS, and then there were some tears. And then we went out to film, basically, her regeneration. And the last shot we did, I think, will be the last shot in the episode as well. So it was really nice to do things in sequence, and it was mostly Jodie and Mandip's scenes on that last day. So it's just super emotional. Then at the end, Jodie gives this wonderful speech. It felt really, like the end of an era, and very important, but very lovely. And there was 100 extra people on set that day. Everyone came down to watch the last slate go up. So yeah, I felt very lucky to be a part of it. Blue Hero 96, and everyone clapped. Yep. The 13th Doctor's regeneration looks like it's not going to happen in the TARDIS, which is something that people have been kind of asking for over the past few eras of the show, where it just seems that the Doctor just goes into the TARDIS, regenerates, and destroys everything in there, except name of the Doctor, according to Aidan Woodhead, of course. Paul McGann regenerated with the Sisterhood of Khan. The reason they've done that in the past, I believe, is secrecy, and it's a really controlled environment as well. When Christopher Eccleston regenerated into David Tennant, those scenes were shot weeks and months apart. So they were able to have great control over the lighting and consistency and continuity and things like that. Defroster 77 Night. What did I say? Did I say name? I meant Night. Defroster Robot 77. This is the one TARDIS set that would have been worth destroying. Yeah, that was fun. I mentioned before that we were able to interview Jerry Magnus Stone for the 1963 live stream last year, and he had this anecdote about the TARDIS as well on the last day of shooting it. Let's take a look. A question from Alex Rooney, who asks, what's it like working in the TARDIS set?
It's good. It's funny. I mean, the TARDIS crystal never works, basically. It's whenever there's a scene that the TARDIS needs to fly, I'd say 80% of the time the TARDIS, the crystal breaks down. So there was a bit of a cheer the last time that I had to switch the crystal on, because we would quite often have to sort of fix that in post and make it go up and down. But it's quite good for sound when it breaks, because it makes quite a big noise to kind of go up and down. But lighting wise, it's gorgeous. There's some really expressive things that you can do with the lights, and having the LEDs change colors and things, which I only really learned kind of quite late on, actually, how versatile it is as a set, and having these kind of gorgeous light sources everywhere. So yeah, it's really gorgeous. And actually, I just today got sent, I don't know if you can see back there, this is, I got sent a bit of it in the post because they've dismantled it now. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So they sent me a chunk of TARDIS because they've dismantled it. So I'm going to see if I can mount that on my wall now.
It would have been very funny if they sent you the broken crystal.
Yes. No, I'm sure that's been ceremonially melted or something.
No, but you've got a roundel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That is so cool, and it's huge as well.
Yeah, I think my partner's not too pleased with it, but I'll put it on the wall somewhere, and it'll be nice somewhere out the way.
So yeah, that was funny. But yeah, so it seems like on the last day of shooting, the TARDIS column didn't work, or something went wrong. So it seems like the Doctor might send the TARDIS out somewhere and then leaves and then goes to regenerate elsewhere. But yeah, it just seems quite refreshing that the regeneration, or at least the end, doesn't take place inside of the TARDIS. But then it says basically her regeneration. People have been saying that they might just end the series like open. That she's going to definitely start regenerating. Whether or not we know who's going to be taking the place of whether or not we know who's going to be taking the place of Jodie by the end of the special, I don't know. I hope that that's the case. I do hope that she does get a proper regeneration scene, because even if it's done with the best of intentions, the optics of it is like, oh, the first female Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, is the first Doctor, while there is like active production later on, is not going to have the passing of the torch like everybody else did. I think that would be disappointing, and that Jodie Whittaker gets deprived of that. Obviously, not all Doctors are able to get a dignified regeneration, like Colin Baker, of course. Paul McGann didn't get one until decades later. But because we do know that there was a future of the show, it would just be a bit disappointing that Jodie is denied that. But yeah, there's not too... We basically just have a lot of speculation here, though, when it comes to the ending of Jodie's Doctor. So it just be interesting that the very ending of her regeneration apparently does not take place in the TARDIS, and that they go somewhere else. Does this have to do with those scenes that we saw them filming with John Bishop, Mandip Gill, and amongst other cast members as well, in those gardens in Wales? Who knows? Who can say? But we'll find out during the Centenary special. It's just a cool detail, and it's also just a really cool interview. Check out the one that I did. If I upload this as a segment, I'll put it in the description below, or have it as like an end title card. But there's an interview there with Jeremy Magnus Stone as Herr Salim as well, who directed Once Upon a Time, Survivors of the Flux, and the Vanquishers. So yeah, check out this interview as well on the Radio Times. Really cool stuff. Okay, it says, would you like it to be explosive? It would fit in the idea that with every regeneration there's some sort of build-up of energy now. Maybe. It would depend. It's great to have it be explosive if it's in the TARDIS, because you can set off all the pyrotechnics and destroy the set. But if it's just Jodie in the middle of a field and it's very explosive, that might look a bit awkward for everyone involved. Joe J says, at least if she regenerated in the TARDIS, we can get proper lighting in there. Okay, as like an editing trick, in order to appease Jeremy Magnus Stone's vengeance of the TARDIS, when Jodie Whittaker regenerates, hands up in the air, regeneration comes out, the energy comes out, it then like arcs over to where the TARDIS is, goes into the lamp, and destroys the central column. There we go, as a revenge on behalf of all of the cast and crew who worked on that set. Imagine if it's just a crossfade like to 3 to 4. Yes, and there's a strange racially questionable stereotype on a magic carpet sat nearby, like watching it happen. We have to know who the 14th Doctor is going to be by the end of the year. Like we have to know, because they're going to be filming. Like they're going to start filming maybe in the next few months. So we need a leading actor who's not David Tennant. Okay, I honestly don't believe that.